Morning, South Africa. Lovely, what are we on today? Thursday. Yeah, a couple of things quickly. You might have seen that video I made about Eskom, about this transformer on our property. And the net result is Eskom has decided to punish us by giving us dodgy invoices that don't match the meter readings and charging us an exorbitant amount of money for our electricity this month. So this is pretty much the pattern of the South African government, extortion and intimidation and, punish you when you point out their faults and you point out their flaws. So we've still received no response about that transformer that we're still paying about 12,000 Rand a month surcharge for something we don't use. And then because we exposed it on social media, they just send us a bill now for 37,000 Rand. Thanks for coming. So, and then at the same time as this is going on, everyone is up in arms now, as am I, about this video that's gone viral of this woman and her two male friends giving a 4-year-old child a dagga pipe to smoke. Or mandrax, could be mandrax even in that pipe. But, while that's going on, those of us that are in the battle here in drug rehabilitation, people like Kurt van Heerden that I follow very closely on Facebook and his channels. He's been doing good work for years in his community. And, my hat goes off to him for doing what he did in terms of this particular event. And people like that should be supported. So, having said that, Kurt, as well as myself and other proper Christian pastors who are in this battle, have been telling the country and the nation for years that this is a massive issue. And, the government's response to this is, first of all, to close down its own rehabs because it can't manage and run them properly. And then through bureaucracy and red tape to make it virtually impossible for anyone who doesn't follow any model other than what they approve to run a rehab. And so, and then on top of that, you have the massive issues now. And, this is all culminating in the situation that you're seeing now, where we have top-level government officials implicated in drug dealing, hit squads, fraud, corruption, all these types of things, and it's all coming to a head now. And then in the whole of South Africa, when no one wants to help the addict, no one wants to be involved with the addiction problem, everyone's got their head buried in the sand. And, when addicts come to rehab, they must be mollycoddled and, treated like professional psychiatric patients. Because, they're vulnerable people and shame, poor them, and they've got a disease and all of that. And then on the flip side of that coin, when a bunch of drug addicts who are not in their right mind because they're high on drugs, then give this child a dagga pipe to smoke, then the whole, sorry for the language is going to come out here, but then the whole flippin' country wants to shit in their pants because, how can you do that to a child? But I thought they were vulnerable people with a disease and we should have empathy with them and shame. Which one is it now, South Africa? You people, I promise you, schizophrenic, emotionally schizophrenic. Let me tell you my addiction, what I've witnessed. I've on 2 occasions. One occasion I was there, and on another occasion I heard about it after the fact. Witnessed drug addicts leave their children as collateral with drug dealers for drugs. Everyone is up in arms, and as they should be once again, because of the Jocelyn story where Jocelyn has gone missing in the presence of a bunch of drug addicts. I did a video on this. What's going on here? You don't seem to understand. In the world of drugs, that is normal. Might not be your normal as you sit in your middle class or upper middle class home, with your family values and morals and all of those things. And, for me, also not a normal thing. But when you're in the drug world and you're in that environment, this is normal. You do what you do to get the drugs. That's normal. Giving your kid a hit on the flip and button pipe for a laugh for you and your mates is normal. It's normal in that world. You know? You people have got the wrong mindset of addiction. You know what I mean? When addiction gets to its very core, it's evil, my friend. It's evil at a level you don't understand. And now one of these things gets exposed and you get a little taste of that evil. This is going on every day in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of places around this country. And the people supplying the drugs are the very same people who are not protecting us from the drugs. There's no dedicated drug unit. The state drug rehabs, I had a lady the other day from social development. She works at social development. She wants to send her kid here to me because she has no faith in their own institutions. Imagine. This is where we're at. You know what I'm saying? Here at our center, we've got guys here across the board, from the poorest families to the wealthiest families. This thing is insidious. It's evil at a level you don't understand. And it doesn't care about anything. It doesn't care about children. It doesn't care about family. All it cares about is feeding itself. It's the addiction. Right? And now, you've got top-level government officials all implicated in this thing. And you know, I watched Citizen Concern last night, and she really, the ways that she put her program together last night, I would recommend you go and watch it. With all these players that she had video footage of, Paul Mashatile, General Libya, this Malcolm X. I don't know where he decided to suck that name out of. Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a black consciousness hero. You know, not a drug dealer, by the way. This Kat Maklala, you know, as well as excerpts from Mkonazi's speech. And it's fascinating to me how quickly these people are contradicting each other, not only contradicting each other, but throwing each other under the bus. And then at the same time, we have this furore exploding now with Athol Trollip and Paul O'Sullivan. And if you remember correctly, the night after Mkonazi spoke, the Monday morning, I did a video and I said, after Sullivan had spoken on television and saying the things that he's saying about Mkonazi, I said, investigate that guy. Why is he so quick to condemn that general without any investigation into what he's talking about and hammering on, why is he in task force camo uniform, and why is he standing with armed men, and why is he not following protocol, but not speaking to the issues that Mkonazi raised. Immediately going on the attack against Mkonazi, and that set my alarm bells off. There's a problem there. And now, as Athol Trollip is starting to dig, you know, we're already hearing murmurs and rumors of what he might possibly find. You know what I'm saying? And I keep saying it to South Africa. This whole thing is a cesspool. The whole lot must go. Every single political party must get deregistered. And those people must be banished and banned from politics forever. Because the whole system is rotten, from the head right down to the tail. And unless we completely take them all out of that place, we're not going to get any further. And that brings me to my next point. A lot of people are sending me private messages, and it is of great concern to me, the messages that I get, because these people are all saying the same point. You know, we're all talking about it, but what are we doing about it? We're sitting on our hands as a nation. We're allowing ourselves to be violated day in and day out, and to trust that the broken judicial system is going to somehow keep these people accountable and vindicate us and free us from this bondage of crime and gangsterism and death that has overtaken our nation. And it's not going to happen unless we, the people, make it happen. And how are we going to make it happen? Well, we have to sit down and discuss that and figure out a way. It's crazy to me that the United States of America, thousands and thousands of kilometers away from us, is doing more to try and save our country than we as South Africans are trying to do to save our country. You know? Now we've got the new explosion, Gayton McKenzie versus Julius Malema. You know what I think? I think I should speak to some of my friends that run boxing promotions, and we set up a boxing promotion, and we can have these politicians blitzing each other in the boxing ring. Hey? Who would go watch that? Hey? Malema versus McKenzie in the boxing ring. Hey? I would go watch that. I would definitely watch that, and we hit it pay-per-view. You know what I mean? We can make some money off these oaks for once in our lives. Eh? Trollope versus O'Sullivan in a boxing match. I think that would be brilliant. Eh? I don't know who we're going to get. We can get Ramaphosa versus Zuma. Ramaphosa versus Zuma. And then Floyd Chavambo versus Duduzela Zuma. You know? Equal rights after all. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as gender, apparently. What do you ask, right? I think that's a plan. Eh? You know what I mean? Of course it's satire, but yes, wouldn't I love to see something like that, eh? You know what I mean? But at some point, you know, we can't let these people keep slip sliding and dodging and bobbing and weaving their accountability. We know that the judicial system is not going to keep them accountable, so how are we going to keep them accountable? This new inquiry I heard yesterday on the same program of Citizen Concern is going to cost us, sorry, this was from Mark Sham, I think it was, it's going to cost us over 150 million rand to hold this inquiry. Do you know how many houses we could build with that? Do you know how many schools we could build with that? Do you know how many hospitals we could fix with that? Do you know how many police vehicles we could sort out? Do you know how many new cops we could train? You know what I mean? Do you know how many factories we could build? How many businesses we could start with 150 million rand? Do you know how many drug addicts I personally could save with 150 million rand? Give me 150 million rand, South Africa. Give me 150 million rand for the purposes of drug rehabilitation, and I'll show you what I do with it. I will be accountable to you with what I do with it. I will change thousands of lives with money like that. Thousands. But we don't get it. In fact, we get punished for doing the right thing by entities like Eskom. You know? And I'm not cross with social development. I'm cross with the policies that the Department of Social Development are forced to enforce. Because the policies are a joke. They're a joke. And they do everything in their power to make it as difficult as possible for you to run a recovery center where you're trying to save people's lives. And we really are trying to save people's lives. We're not part of this abuse gang that is currently hitting headlines all over. And I've said it. In fact, I said it to the very same journalist who just exposed this whole thing with the abuse. When he came and did an interview with me and had a walk around my center, I said to him, listen here, the drug rehabilitation system in South Africa is fraught. People are getting hurt more than they're getting helped. And here it is. The boiler's popped again. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. We as South Africans have to get together and figure out how we're going to change this thing. All right. Have a lekker day, guys. I'll speak to you later. Cheers.